Imagine living in a country where you are struggling with fuel prices. Inflation is eating your salary every day. Then boom, one day the government wakes up and slap you with $92 radio tax on your car. Not for luxury, not for Netflix, but just for flipping radio in your car. And this is the situation happening now in Zimbabwe. Owning a car means you already owe the government $92 every year. And if you don't pay it, you can't even insure your car.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
This is one of the most frustrating policies to hit Southern Africa in recent times. If you are a driver in Zimbabwe, then brace yourself, because the government just hit you with a $92 bill. Not for fuel, not for repairs, not for insurance, but just to listen to radio. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has signed a new law that forces every motorist in Zimbabwe to pay $92 for radio license before they can even insure their vehicles. And you don't need to use the radio, you just have to pay. I think this is not about funding the public broadcast, but this is about squeezing the people dry in an economy that is already bleeding. Zimbabweans are facing rising inflation, high unemployment, fuel shortages, and depreciating currency. And your solution is to charge them for what they didn't ask for? Is that a solution to help the people? Guys, let me break it down here. In a country where the average person struggles to buy bread, and the government thinks it's reasonable to charge almost $100 a year for just owning a car, I think public media should serve the people. And the public broadcasting is supposed to educate, inform, and uplift the nation, not to be weaponized as a tool for propaganda and a source of false revenue. Now guys, these are public facts. Zimbabwean public broadcaster ZBC has been accused of being a government mouthpiece and lacking independent journalism. So why should ordinary people force it by force when the government is the one benefiting from the ZBC? Where has all the previous funding to ZBC gone to? Have they been audited yet? What reforms have they implemented to become truly national and non-partisan? Or is this just another shadow fund like we've seen before, money collected in the name of service but spent in the name of self-interest? We must speak up, because policies like this set as precedent for other policies to follow. And that was why Kenyans fought set taxes in their country, and at the end it became a success. Today is a radio tax, tomorrow it will be a walking tax, and the next will become air tax. Now, this is my message to Zimbabwean leaders. The people are not ATMs, and you cannot fix a broken economy by milking the people financially. Fix an economy by creating opportunities, rewarding innovation, and building trust. That is how we fix a nation, not by taxing silence on the radio. If you agree with me, smash the like button, comment down below, and share this video. Let's make Zimbabweans worldwide see this, and more importantly, the ones in charge. Since President Emmerson Mnangagwa took over, his administration has introduced several taxes aimed at broadening the fiscal base and expanding the tax net to increase government revenue. Here is a summary of notable taxes introduced by President Mnangagwa since 2017 that he took over from Robert Mugabe. In 2018, he introduced the intermediated money transfer levy. This tax imposed 20% levy on electronic transactions exceeding $10. The finance minister then said that the revenue will be used to fund infrastructure projects like the health sector, roads, and education. In 2024, they introduced the sugar content tax, which was a special surtax on sugar content, which they called a special surtax on sugar content they put in beverages. Now, they said this tax was to raise funds to buy cancer treatment equipment for public hospitals. By November 2024, the government has collected $30.8 million out of this tax. In the same 2024, they introduced the wealth tax on high-value properties, and a 1% wealth tax was introduced on residential properties valued above $250,000, excluding primary residencies. Now, the tax capped $50,000. He also introduced the mining and quarry levy in the same 2024. A 1% levy was put on gross sales on the mining and quarrying sectors, specifically targeting export and local sales of lithium, black granite and quarry stones, and dimensional stones. In 2025, taxes were also introduced on fast food and sport betting in Zimbabwe. The government introduced 0.5 tax on fast food and a 10% tax on sports betting proceeds. These measures were part of effort to increase revenue and were cited as causes and were cited as contributing factors for the rising of inflation in Zimbabwe. In the same 2025, there was a taxation of the informal sector, and the 2025 national budget included budget provisions to legally oblige informal sector to participate in paying taxes. This move aimed to widen the tax net and increase government revenue and ensure that all economic sectors contribute to the national revenue. And the latest, starting in May 2025, is the introduction of a mandatory radio license for all motorists. All motorists are required to pay $92 annually to the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, ZBC, before they can license or insure their car. This move has been met with criticism, with opponents arguing that it imposes an additional burden on citizens and forces them to support a state broadcaster accused of being biased. All these tax measures reflect the government's strategy to mobilize domestic resources and reduce reliance on external funding, while intending to bolster public services and infrastructures. They have also sparked debates about their impact on citizens, especially amidst economic challenges. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and say no to this kind of tax. Because if it doesn't, from one African country, it extends to the other African country. Let's learn from Kenya what they did.
A popular way to communicate and help people engage in discussions that affect them. It is estimated that there are over 1 million radio sets in the country, roughly 1 for every 12 inhabitants. And despite these achievements, the country is still in the process of switching from analog to digital broadcasting.
The electronic industry has been in rapid transformation since the turn of the millennium in developments that have seen other modes of mass communication becoming redundant. Radio has, however, been resilient, maintaining its traditional format while also transforming itself to meet the modern requirements of new technologies such as the internet, mobile phones, and satellite broadcasting.
Radio is in itself a unique platform of disseminating information to the public. There's a digital space that we need to explore and go into, and for that alone, it will tell you that radio is...
Early November by Robert Mugabe. But less than 2 weeks after a political crisis broke out, he holds the country's top job. Early on in his first address as president, he heaped praise on Mugabe, who skipped the ceremony.
He led us in our struggle for national independence. He assumed responsibilities of leadership. To me personally, he remains a father, mentor, comrade in arms, and my leader.